was murdered.
Cerveza Cristal. Cerveza Cristal.
Just in case there was any doubt that this is a serious podcast.
That was
Welcome
brilliantly
to Dork,
edited.
everybody.
Wow. Happy Tuesday. Welcome, everyone.
Whoa. First blooper of the night. We are on Monday, my dude. It is Monday.
Oh, that's right. I said Tuesday, didn't I?
This historically has been a Tuesday night podcast, and this is our very first Monday adventure. So you'll have to forgive us. We're probably going to be doing that slip up.
We also have a special guest, though, as you can see.
Hello.
Tori Fox is joining us this evening, of whom had the wonderful pleasure of joining us, or actually, well, we all had the opportunity to be at the premiere together for the Acolyte. So, but yeah, now she's with us currently. It's something we were talking about earlier before getting online, was that we made the mistake of, we loved your dress, but we both made the mistake of thinking that it was a Jar Jar Binks inspired dress when it actually was inspired by one of the characters within the Acolyte itself, even. So,
I don't know why I'm getting dragged into this misunderstanding.
Still a compliment. It's fine. But yes, I was a Jackie stan before I even knew what she was like. So
I like to think it was a half Thielen dress.
Correct.
Not full Thielen. Not full,
Correct. Trying to be a little more subtle with it, you know.
Of course. Well, welcome to the podcast. We're really happy to have you here. Talk about some Star Wars, and there's so much going on right now to talk about. Like we're kind of feasting, and I feel like that term gets thrown around a lot these days, but like it's very true right now. Like this summer is going to be stacked between the Acolyte, Star Wars Hunters, and then Star Wars Outlaws dropping at the end of August to take us through to the rest of the year. Yeah, you never want to go full Thielen. You go full Thielen, the opportunities start drying up. Everyone knows that. Oh man. But yeah, so have you seen past episodes 1 and 2 of the Acolyte?
I have not.
Okay, so we're all on the same page here, because I know some people got screeners and some people have seen the first 4 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So I always have to be careful who I talk to about it, because there's people out there that know a lot more than I do. But what would you say is your take so far on the direction of the show? Do you have any sort of predictions about what's going to happen tomorrow in episode 3?
I don't know if I have specific ones for tomorrow. In general, I have thoughts, I have theories. Definitely got the conspiracy cap on a little bit. I think the biggest thing for me, it feels every time they kind of mention Brendok, and like I always call it the incident. That's what I call it now, like the incident. So I don't have to say like on Brendok.
No, totally. The incident. I like that.
The bad thing that happened. It really reminds me a lot of the Martez sisters story, and like how like
season 7 Clone Wars.
Jedi were trying to do good, but like kind of messed up their lives. Like, you know,
you think they pulled the Luminara a little bit?
Right. So sure. I'm not in like a mean anti-Jedi way, but I'm very intrigued by that like point of view. Because it's kind of like when you watch a Marvel movie and I'm like, oh, the Hulk just like ruined that entire apartment building. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like there's always this collateral damage that is never really talked about. So very interested in that. And I'm watching Quamir very closely.
Yes.
I feel like absolutely. He is a bigger player than we realize. I kind of get like early Palpatine vibes from him. Like he's kind of just like, hey, I'm here. I'm just here to help. And it's like,
oh, the apothecary guy?
Appearing meek and unassuming, and just sort of like the way he shambled down the marketplace streets and then gets jumped and like is so deft and quick with his movements. Like he's clearly concealing so much skill and poise. Like what's with the veneer? What's the point, right? Unless he's hiding something big. No, I agree with that. He was putting up red flags for me like immediately, honestly.
Yeah, he's makes me think. So I don't know if I think that he's the one in the smiley face or not, but it wouldn't surprise me if so. So yeah, but I think those are my biggest takeaways at this point. I mean, I'm loving the art direction is so beautiful. I love seeing like inside of ships seeing like a lot of color, because I feel like
Yes.
that's not something that we get like ever. I think the only thing I can think of is how Lando had those yellow accents on the Falcon. So like it's cool to see like teal and maroon and stuff like that inside a ship. Chair droids, hello. So the design has been incredible.
Something ironic about the design that it's almost a controversial thing to say because it's such a can of worms, but it made me think of the Halcyon Star Cruiser, which is also a High Republic era vehicle originally, right? Wasn't it built in the High Republic? Because there's a lot of colorful accents inside those hallways too, and that's kind of where my mind went with it when I saw it, which is kind of a nice visual connection because it's supposed to be of that era, you know?
Yeah.
No,
it's
the
nice
visual design is killing it. I completely agree. Like the
it's
way
nice to see so different. Sorry, I keep interrupting you.
No, sir, please
It's
go.
nice to see stuff that's so different, but they still bring it back. It still feels Star Wars, but it is so different than what we've seen, which is nice.
I am a production design nerd. Like that's really what my angle is. That I enjoy my Star Wars, and the fact that it's so rooted in McQuarrie's like retrofuturism of the 70s, and like it's like how do we transpose that and make it feel like earlier time while still being so reminiscent of a very specific time aesthetically with the concept art. And what they've done is they've like turned back the clock, and it's more like 1950s and 1960s era retrofuturism now. Like I first noticed that in Jedi Survivor, and they're really leaning into it with the tech, and I'm just really excited to see this take off. I know that the High Republic is not going anywhere. We're going to be seeing more and more glimpses on screen into this world, and it's just I can't wait. I'm very excited. Kelnaka, we got a tease. We got like 30 seconds at the end. Should we be worried about our new Wookiee friend? Are we even going to get a chance to get to know this man, or is he's on a hit list, and that's like the only thing we know about him?
I can't imagine he's gone. I hope not anyway. I think he's just way too cool. I hope he's not.
I mean, I hope we get a whole lot with him, but like the last few Jedi haven't really fared very well against May so far. And I guess I should hit us with all the Jedi got murdered. They're all dead. All right. You had your chance to jump out of the thread. Now you know that they're dead. They're dead.
Well, I mean, it's kind of in the description of the show in certain places. So like, I don't know. I don't think it's that shocking.
When I first watched the first murder scene, and Indara gets stabbed with the dagger, which, by the way, totally makes sense. If you get stabbed in the heart with a bladed weapon, it doesn't matter if you have telekinesis, you're going to die from that. It's not the same as like an arbitrary lightsaber stab to the gut. But I was kind of confused how she didn't see that second dagger coming. I felt like maybe she should sense it. And someone in one of my YouTube comments pointed it out, and I really like this theory that she totally sensed the second knife, and she knew it was coming, and she did what any Jedi Master would do and made a conscious choice to save the innocent barkeep and lay down her own life instead.
Yeah,
so
I can see that.
I kind of like that better. I kind of like that better, but inside that, there's like, was there a willingness to die? Kind of like Master Torben. Like, is there like?
That's where I thought you were initially going with that. It's an interesting thought.
Kind of blew my mind, honestly. Him willfully drinking the poison like that. Like, I don't think we've ever seen a Jedi make that kind of a move of self-sacrifice. The incident. We got to know what happened.
The incident. That's what I'm saying. When he did that, I was like, it's very serious now. Like, this is obviously really, really bad.
And I think you hit the nail on the head with the Martez sisters. It's going to be some instance of Jedi hubris where, I mean, he straight up said, we thought we were doing the right thing, but they never stopped to consider any outside perspectives, which is such a Jedi thing to do. Mm-hmm. For people that spend a lot of time meditating, they don't do a lot of thinking. And I think that's a really interesting, like you would think it comes with the territory, right? Oh, man. There's been a lot of controversy on the internet. A lot of it is performative. A lot of it is manufactured, and not all of it deserves our time here. But one thing that I did want to comment on briefly is just this weird idea that fire doesn't belong in space in Star Wars. Isn't that like one of the very first things that we see? Is like the Tantive getting like hit by an ISD and a bunch of flames come out of it in the very first shot from A New Hope. First time we meet R2-D2, right? He's fixing the damn hyperdrive, and there's just a raging flame on the side of the N1, or the J-type Nubian, if you will. But I don't know. I don't know where people are getting these things from. It feels very much like grasping at straws. And I will say that there are plenty of valid criticisms that you could level against this show, but I'm not seeing any of those. It's this weird, like it's all very hyperbolic, and I don't understand where it's coming from. But I would like people to please knock it off. I guess is the point that I'm trying to make here. Is like, there's fire in space. Go rewatch the original films, and then revisit your criticisms and see if they still hold up. Because I feel like people are being pretty unfair in how they're receiving this show. And you don't have to love it. No one has to love it. You can have your own preference, but just say you don't like it and be honest about the reasons instead of trying to invent nitpicks.
Yeah, it's searching for something for sure.
Exactly. And it's whatever. I thought about cutting together a montage of every significant moment of fire in space in the series, and then I was like, I don't have this kind of time.
It's not worth it, man.
That's too much effort to devote to arguing with strangers on the internet, and you should never do that more than you have to. Like, honestly, every gray beard hair that I have can be attributed to a specific stressful moment, and most of them are probably internet arguments at this point. At least one of them is my internet going out the day of the Mandalorian season finale. Got a couple gray hairs from that one for sure. So Tori, I've followed you on Twitter for quite a while, and you're always doing really cool stuff. I'm always quite jealous. For example, recently you and your friends went on a trip to my home country, to New Zealand, right?
Yes.
How was that? What was that like? Just so you know, you're talking to two huge Lord of the Rings nerds over here.
Oh, it was incredible. I went with my best friend Savannah and her brother Chase. And we went with a tour company, Red Carpet Tours. This is not sponsored, but they're amazing. And it was a whole 2-week trip, and it was mainly Lord of the Rings, everything. We went to Hobbiton, Pelennor Field, Edoras, we went everywhere. And it was incredible.
I've always wanted to do that, to take the tour and recreate the shots, find the exact angles from iconic moments.
And that was one of the cool things they had everywhere we went. Our tour guides were on it. They had everywhere we went, they had shots to do, a shot for shot, so you can kind of line it up. We went to, the first time we did this, it was the best. They would bring costumes and props for things too, to recreate stuff. So the first one we did was when Frodo and the other hobbits are hiding under the little with the tree, with the Nazgul coming in with the horse.
Oh, yes.
And so I got to be the horse.
Of course.
I have that photo somewhere.
Naturally.
So it was awesome. It was amazing. Don't think I had a bad meal there. I'm not really a nature girly, but after being there, I kind of question. Maybe I'm a nature girly in the right circumstances.
Absolutely.
Because
I enjoy a hike for about 20 minutes.
Glamping is also always a thing too. So as long as you're
that's fair.
I think I'm all about nature for the first 20 minutes of a hike. And then 10 minutes after that, I'm like, all right, where's the car? How far is the car?
Right. I mean, here really for me, and especially I live in Florida, so it's I don't know, there's all sorts of bad stuff in the
you got crocodiles
wilderness, and there's ticks, and there's snakes, and I like snakes, but it's hard when you can't tell what they are. Stuff like
Sure.
that. You go to New Zealand and they're like, there's literally nothing here that's going to bother you.
Yeah,
literally
it's like
nothing.
Australia, but with the safety on,
Right. It's the total opposite. Yeah. So it was incredible.
Did you try any dairy products while you're there, the milk, ice cream, stuff like that?
The ice cream was such a big thing. Our tour guides kept telling us, you have to try Hokey Pokey, which is the vanilla bean and honey.
Yep.
Ice cream, but it's
love me some Hokey
oh
Pokey.
my god, but it's the honeycomb, so it's a little crunchy too.
Yeah, no, Hokey Pokey's
that
great.
Was incredible. I hope that we as a country, the US, can adopt that at some point, because that was amazing.
It's on my list. It's on my list of Kiwi snacks that we really need here. I got them right next to the king size crunchies, chocolate fish. No. Also, Big Ben's meat pies needs to make a comeback. We need to get those over here in America. I grew up eating those things. Yeah, no, that's so much fun. I lived in New Zealand for many, many years. Never, Lord of the Rings hadn't been filmed yet. It actually started filming the year that I left. And I haven't been back, so I've never done the big tour. But it's a bucket list thing for sure. I'm very jealous, and I'm really happy that you got to go and do that. It sounds like so much fun.
Thanks. It was so fun.
Did they carry the props like for you, or did you have to like carry them to the?
A lot of times they carried some. It would only be like one tour guide at a time. We had
Sure.
2 different tour guides, one for North Island, one for South Island, because we went to both, and they carried them for the most part. But they also, like, if they had a bunch of stuff, that one of the nice things, I mean, and you know, something that makes a tour is the people that you're on it with, because you could totally, you know, not have nice people on your tour, but we had
Sure,
the nicest
sure.
people ever. Everyone was super helpful. Like, we were all carrying stuff together. You know, like, it was very much a group effort at all
And everyone's
times.
excited. You
Very
all feed off
nice.
each other's energy too, and it makes you like more excited.
Right. So, yeah.
That's cool, because I would love to like stand on top of one of the mountains in like a full like leather Aragorn cosplay with the sword and this and that. But I think about carrying those props and how just like sweaty and like disheveled, and like by the time I get there, I'd be like, no photos allowed.
It would be
I think
more
you-
accurate, man, but it would be so fucking accurate, even more so.
It's true. I would
That's
look like a
true.
dirty, grimy ranger from the north, and that,
That's true.
That might work. That might work.
I think if you went when it's cooler out, you might be fine. But there was a guy, I mean, we were there. It wasn't like super hot. It was probably like 60s most of the time.
Beautiful.
And he was wearing like a leather Aragorn type deal a lot of the time.
Commitment right there.
And I think he was fine.
I'm currently in Phoenix, Arizona, where it's 107 degrees. So
I'm just saying, there's a reason that every single time you see Peter Jackson in the footage for the appendices, he's wearing short shorts and no shoes.
Yeah.
Hot as hell where they were.
Mhm.
So yeah, let's switch gears a little bit, and we're going to talk about Star Wars Hunters, which just came out briefly. But first, a word from our lovely sponsors over at Industrial Automaton.
Do you crave unlimited power, but don't have the credits? Then set your Nava computer for the generous Jawa Droid Emporium, where we'll sell you a used GNK Series Power Droid for a fraction of the cost. They may not look like much, but they've got it where it counts. Unlimited power you can wield throughout the galaxy at a price you can afford. That's the generous Jawa Droid Emporium, Mos Eisley Spaceport, Tatooine in the Outer Rim. Limit 1 droid per customer. Restraining bolt-on included droid fusion reactors are not subject to warranty. The generous Jawa Droid Emporium is not responsible for any electrical damage to equipment or life forms. All cells are final. This message is not approved by the Empire.
It's very important. We have to repeat that this message is not approved by the Empire. Do not seek refunds from the Empire. They're going to come bother me about it. Vilder, I will say that I am unapologetically in the pocket of Big Gonk, and I will not.
I was
back
quite
down on
impressed with that butterfly kick to back flare.
I mean, my
was-
man's got knees. That alone is a
I mean-
game changer.
I didn't recognize that they were like had Tigger springs for legs. Like, my goodness.
That animation was made by Elliot Sirota back in 2011, and it flew under my radar until earlier this year. And I can't believe that such a fantastic Gonk animation existed out there within my grasp on the internet, and I somehow didn't know about it. I feel like a fraud. But now I know about it. I'm going to play it for everybody that I possibly can. I'm very evangelical about my Gonk love. For whatever reason, I just have to spread it to other people. If people don't understand why Gonks are amazing, then it bothers me. It's a compulsion. But yeah, so speaking of Gonks, I guess now's the perfect time for the Gonk of the week, right? We didn't even do one last week. We were so caught up in the humdrum of like recapping our red carpet experience, talking about the Acolyte premiere, that the Gonk of the week fully slipped by us. And I'm so sorry to anyone that was hanging out waiting for that. Yes, this was made by the guy in the bar, Elliot. He also goes by One-Eyed Jedi. I actually met him at Scum and Villainy the night of the premiere, and he told me about his fan film. And I was like, dude, you're talking to the most receptive person in this hemisphere for what you're saying right now. And then boom, there it is. It was meant to be. But this week's Gonk of the Week, I picked a great one in honor of you, Tori, because I know you really love the creatures. Let me show you the Dianoga Gonk. Oh my goodness, it's gone. It's gone. It slithered right out of here. I'm gonna get it back. I'm gonna get it back. Hold on. It's because I accidentally refreshed the page and I lost all of my uploads. It's okay though.
Oh, that's true.
Where are you? Oh, there we go. Cool. Here is the Gonk, the Dianoga Gonk.
I love it. That's a 10 out of 10 gonk right there.
Oh, easily. Easily.
Oh, that eyeball.
Thank you. Yes, the Diagonka. Much better. This one was made by Matt Ziegel.
If you're a living organism using a non-living automaton as a vehicle, like, well, now the question is the Dianoga using it as a mode of transportation, or is it just like sitting
I think it's like a hermit crab situation. He lives in there, but like the Gonk
moves on its own, so it's not
following
like
its programming, and the Dianoga is just kind of like semi-sentient. Just, okay, I guess I'm going along for the ride, you know.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, no, that eyeball is fucking perfect. The periscope is amazing.
Okay, good. We're getting some high ratings here. I would agree. I would also give this a 10 out of 10.
Like, especially, oh man, could you imagine that as a Halloween decoration? That's fucking fantastic.
Perfect.
Yeah, you just shove some dry ice inside the chassis, let it like.
Oh my god, yeah.
Fill
Put
out
a
of the top.
strobe light. Oh my god, yeah. You could easily get some undead stormtroopers and like throw them, or put skeletons with some stormtrooper on them, put them on your front lawn, and then have that thing. Oh god, it would be like the thing.
You're freaking yourself out just thinking about
it. We're making this yardscape story right now.
Yeah, anything lower than this would be clearly biased, and we wouldn't be able to accept your rating anyway. No. So, like, clearly this rating was given under duress, and what he meant to say was 10 out of 10. I mean, I'm an easy sell when it comes to gonks. I give most of them at least a 9, but this one really does go above and beyond, and I love the creativity displayed with taking an iconic robot and then an iconic creature and just combining the two.
Yes.
And this
the paint is really nice too.
Yeah, the paint job itself is both on the creature and the gonk. I was noticing that. Also, are these cardboard feet?
I think they're wood. I think it's if they're solid wood,
it could be wood.
It gives it the most. That would give it the most weight and stability.
It has like that perforated line.
It does have
pattern on the front of the feet of the toes. It almost looks like a cardboard box, but it has weathering on it too, which you know. The fact that we can't immediately tell means they did a good job, because
difficult. Or at least I can make something look dirty, but trying to make it look like where the paint itself is sort of like scratched off is just like
carbon scoring is really hard to master.
Yeah, I know sponges are the trick for that, but
well, what my brother did is let me grab it. So he made my Boba Fett helmet from scratch for me, and he painted the whole thing with like a shiny metallic paint. And then he painted over it with the green, and he used like a kind of mustard that like had a chemical reaction and ate away the top layer of paint while like perfectly preserving what was underneath. I'll show you what it looks like. This is the finished result. Like, the scoring came out really nice.
Mm-hmm.
But he used mustard, and I'd never heard of that before. Very impressive.
I've never heard of mustard. You can do like a baking soda, I think Dawn dish soap combination, and you basically just paint over top of it, and then you can chip it off, and it'll cover the part that you want to like keep the underneath part.
Interesting. I wonder what is happening chemically to like make it to like preserve what you want to keep in that.
I don't know. I wonder if it's just enough so that it grabs on, so nothing can get under it. You know.
Right. Creates like a nice little layer or something. That's kind of what I was thinking. The acidity in the mustard is what eats away the acrylic. But it's a really cool effect. It worked. It came out really nice. I mean, it is amazing, but let me tell you, he's great at a lot of stuff. I don't know if that's his calling necessarily. Yeah, it's one of my favorites too. Have either of you played Star Wars Hunters? It's like a week old.
No, I was debating downloading it though.
It's on iOS and it's on mobile.
Which is wild. if it's cross compatible to where I'm able to play it on the iPad with you, best friends, like
I think it is. I don't actually know the answer to that question. All I know is that people are out here playing on like actual controllers, and I have 2 fingers on an iPad trying to keep up, and it's rough. Yes, it is. It's free, which is also a really good point. There's obviously like it's loaded with microtransactions and there's like cosmetics and things you can buy, but you can play the entire base game for free. So
Oh, that's nice. Okay, then maybe I will download it on my Switch.
yeah, the initial game is free, but then season pass, how they do all that stuff.
Yeah. They get
One
you.
thing that I like about it though so far is that it has like this larger than life, like very like pro wrestling energy, where like the characters are like super established. I never played Overwatch, but I know they did the same sort of thing with Overwatch with their trailers. Like they released trailers specifically for each character and gave them these backstories that were entirely arbitrary, but made it more fun to play. Here is the launch trailer for Star Wars Hunters. I'll play this for everybody because this just dropped last week and it's a perfect time to get on board.
Welcome to Vespora, where Sith
And Jedi!
can fight side by side.
Where rivals rub elbows! And victory is in your hands!
Settle your grudge, or put it aside for the good of the squad.
Enemies one match! Allies the next!
The feed is live.
The crowd is fired up!
The show is about to begin. Are you ready?
It's a lot of fun.
Okay,
It really
the
is.
Ugnaught shooting at the Jawas on the shoulder, I kind of lost on that one. That was pretty fucking hilarious.
I play as the Jawas. They're Utuni, and yes, it is definitely 2 Jawas standing on top of each other, like in a long
In a
coat.
trench coat.
It's this game is not serious. It's so unserious.
It feels very Overwatch. I see how you can say that.
Yeah, I agree.
They really
I mean,
play up
the
these
Sith-
rivalries.
The Sith Apprentice lady. I mean, fuck. I like. It's right there. The option.
She's great. She's great. They've got this like Dathomir influence without actually saying it, so they can like go either direction with it if they want.
That's amazing.
The Jawas have a skin where they have a Gonk droid strapped to their back, so naturally, I'm now learning how to play with the Jawas, and it's very challenging because they're definitely not a tank. Yeah, no, I've never played Overwatch. I've heard that it's really fun. This definitely gives me that vibe just from like I watched all the trailers. Because if there's a CG trailer for a game, what am I going to do? Not watch it? It's like a little mini movie these days. The technology's gotten so good.
Mhm.
It's true.
Yeah, the Jedi droid is interesting. He does not have the Force. He thinks he does. Like in his little intro video, he walks out and you see his lightsaber on the ground, hella far away, and he like goes like this for it. And then you see it rattle and start moving, and then it zooms out, and his like he just went go gadget with his arm, and he's like pulling it to himself physically with his with his like hand on a string. No, it's great. It's good stuff. And an Ugnaught piloting a hollowed out droideka. What's not to love? Except that I hate that guy because I don't know how to fight him.
Dude, and the fact that the heavy gunner stormtrooper one, I loved the big ass like crack scar across his face. I hope there's some DLC at some point where he gets the golden helmet from
Kintsugi helmet, absolutely.
Bro,
It'd be
the
foolish
fact
not
that he
to.
had the shield come out of his heavy gun was also a little bit OP. I guess you could just kind of have to treat him like a Templar from Assassin's Creed, and just
He's probably gonna get nerfed. He's probably gonna get nerfed. He does. He has a big old energy shield, and he can call in 2 stormtrooper reinforcements. But it's like his big move. It's on a cooldown. Everything's on a cooldown. But it's very casual. It's like it auto shoots, at least on my iPad it does, because my only buttons are look and move. And so as long as you're looking at someone, you'll automatically attack them. It's a weird.
That's
I
great.
enjoy it. I enjoy it very much. I could see myself wasting a lot of time in this game. And speaking of time wasters, Star Wars Outlaws is coming. I'm not even gonna get out of my room for ages when that game drops. It's fully open world. You can actually like ride around on a speeder and like Red Dead Redemption style, just pick a place on the horizon and go check it out.
It is very nice that they're giving different gamers or giving Star Wars fans and different gamers outlook or like different out. Fuck, I can't talk right now. They're giving different genres and different types of gaming for the people of like, whatever hits their fancy. Like if they're waiting on a bus or like waiting for some sort of transportation to have 30 minutes, like you can do a couple rounds of Star Wars Heroes. But if you really just want the whole, outlaw Red Dead Redemption sort of thing, but you don't want to deal with like too much Jedi shit, like for Jedi Survivor.
You wouldn't have your options like that. Absolutely. Sometimes you want to wear a groove into your couch and just like play like a really story heavy game and be there for hours. But sometimes you only got 5 minutes, and we need a game for both kinds. I'm hoping that eventually we will have like run the full gambit and we'll have a new Star Wars real-time strategy game, which we haven't had in years, like a proper customizable protagonist RPG, in the style of like Jedi Academy and Knights of the Old Republic.
If we did,
something new.
Supposed to be getting a reskin for at least a fucking decade now.
Knights of the Old Republic?
Yeah, it's been.
Oh, that's in development hell. That is in development hell.
It's been, yeah.
I'm not sure that we should expect anything from that anytime soon. Honestly, would be really nice, but it really felt like a situation where they put all of the budget that they had up front into that fancy trailer that they announced, and nothing else has really gone on behind the scenes. Or if there has, it's been a very poor attempt at communicating that to us, because it seems like it's on its last legs right now, and really makes me disappointed because I really wanted it to be successful. I'm still on the devs board at Star Wars Outlaws because when the live stream came, it took me by surprise, and I did a total spit take. I think I have a clip of it actually in here somewhere.
But speaking of KOTOR, though, something I did want to like kind of touch bases on that we originally at the very beginning kind of talked on with the Acolyte is something that KOTOR really touched bases on was the idea with Juhani, for example, with the Cathar. Like she kind of turned to the dark side because she thought she killed her master, but at the end of it, you find out that her master is still alive. There's plenty of humanoids who have different, like at the end of the day, everyone's still an alien. So if Master Andara had 2 hearts, who's to say that she didn't have 2 hearts, even though she took a knife to the chest? Like, it's true. We don't know anything.
The Grand Inquisitor gets to have cow stomachs. Why doesn't she get 2 hearts? We can decide.
On the other part of the chest, like we don't know anything. Like just say to someone's humanoid, we don't know what to say if they actually have a human internal system. But when it came to the Wookiee thing, also, like I'm thinking we could potentially get him for maybe 2 or 3 episodes. So we'll get one for his initial episode for him on planet, with hopefully him doing some Predator shit, ripping people's arms off. We'll see. And then we'll see him potentially a 2nd or 3rd time when we eventually do get to the flashback episode, because we do know that eventually we'll get to see Torben, a younger Torben. Or not Torben.
That's what I was going to say. Is I don't think we've seen the last of any of these 4 on the list. We're going to get a full,
definitely a flashback.
On the list. So if everyone's still under the belief that everyone's going to die and that everyone that's on the hit list is going to die, then that means Saul too. So just to let everyone, be that devil's advocate there. So like,
I think the reason why I'm confident that they're all going to die is because they've already built in this device to give us more exposition with these characters, because we know there's a flashback coming. So like, I wouldn't be surprised if Cal Naka dies in the next episode, because we're always going to get more of him in episode 5 anyway. I kind of thought that was going to happen with Carrie Ann Moss because she's so expensive. I'm like, there's no way she's in this whole show. Episode 1 and episode 5, and that's going to be her. And that's where the budget went right there. But I mean, like, and this is just me being a cynical realist. I don't want Cal Naka to die, but based on an established trend, I don't see him pulling through on this one, because that just to be a trailer detective for a second, that big group shot where they're all standing with their sabers and they're fighting the Red Blade for the first time, that's on the same planet that we just ended on. It's definitely the same planet. They're standing in front of that ruined structure that Kel Naka was living in. Why isn't Kel Naka present in that fight?
Maybe he's sleeping.
He's getting his beauty rest. All right,
He's going for a hike. He's being Bigfoot. I don't know.
He
That'd
is
be re-
very Bigfoot.
that would be
The-
really
the
funny
way
if
that
he came
they
back
shot
with the
that,
pizzas
yeah.
and just everything's on
I
fire.
need like a sticker that's like the classic Bigfoot stance, but is him. I need that.
I'm gonna put a
Absolutely.
Kelnaka lives question mark
Absolutely.
shirt up on the store before next week hits.
No question mark.
Exclamations
No.
only. We
Thank
have faith here.
Right,
No
yeah,
question
and then
marks.
kind of the last thing I was gonna say, the idea of having the apothecary be the main Sith Lord, I think that would be. I'd be very surprised if it ended up playing out that way, because we also know that there's the really can't think of the actress's name yet. We haven't seen the character, the really beautiful black lady with the giant flowing purple robes. Not May, the other one. So
Yeah. What is
Her character name is like Mother Anastasia or something
Right,
like
yeah,
that.
Mother
So-
Anastasia? That's what I
So
was
if
looking
anything,
at.
it could be her and the apothecary are still like the umbrella, the umbrella acolytes to the main master in the smiley face. So I think there's still some potential of
I think that a lot of emphasis is going to get placed on Mother Anastasia, and it's going to be a bit of a misdirect because remember, when she talked about everyone burning, she said her mom's. So who's her other mom? I think her other mom's going to be very significant, and we're supposed to like sort of forget about that until it's revealed. Like that's kind of what I
It's an
want to know.
interesting idea.
mhm.
Sorry.
I said it's an interesting idea.
As for Chimere, I don't know. When examining the word acolyte, like an acolyte is in it goes master apprentice, and then the acolyte is the apprentice of the apprentice. So if May is the acolyte, that implies that Smilo Ren, as we like to call him,
There's
isn't-
another person.
exactly isn't the master. He himself is the apprentice.
Is it 3 there are? No more, no less now? Is that
Well,
the
okay,
new?
so
I mean, if
Star
you want to
Wars
look at the tradition, it's always 2 with a secret third every time.
until
We got
Dooku.
Dooku and Palpatine with a secret Ventress. We got
Good point.
Palpatine and Vader with a
Ventress
secret
wasn't the
Dark
only
Lord.
one,
There's
though.
always a
Ventress
secret
wasn't
third.
the only one. There was Ventress, there was Grievous, there was Sora Bulk, and then there was some other dude who looked like the fucking main singer of Nickelback, who Quinlan Voss killed, and then Quinlan Voss was an acolyte also. Like Dark Horse, like there were a
Look at
couple
this droid.
Yeah, there were a couple of different acolytes that held the title, and then when Ventress and Quinlan Voss were viewed as traitors, Dooku sent Sora Bulk and the other long-haired dude fucking after him. But then that was also when Sidious was like, "Hey Dooku, I don't like how many acolytes you have. You need to kill some of them." And he was like, "Done. All right."
I mean, that's kind of the
Ventress-
nature of the Sith philosophy in the first place, is that like you gain allegiance and loyalty through hatred. Like your apprentice, you make your apprentice hate you. So of course they're going to work their whole life to supplant you. And they're always going to be searching for their own apprentice until they can team up and be powerful enough to overthrow the master. Like that's how traditionally it's supposed to work. So there's no way the master doesn't know about these acolytes. It's supposed to be a secret, but it's like the worst kept secret kind of thing. You just sort of, it's a basic assumption. Oh yeah, my apprentice, I'm sure he's working to kill me. I'm sure he's got like 3 or 4 acolytes that he's trying to train up. It's almost a game to them. They enjoy.
I mean, that was
a
Palpatine's
level
whole
of
thing with
domination.
Vader. Wasn't that Palpatine's thing of like, I'm going to give him the idea that I'm going to replace him, and then that made Vader like turn super homicidal all of a sudden and just start killing everyone that could have been his fucking replacement?
Well, that was deliberate. That was to make a point to him, because if you remember in episode 5, he was all like, "You are my son. Together we can destroy the Emperor and rule the galaxy, father and son." And then when we see him again in episode 6, he's like, "I must obey my master." And he's at a complete heel turn with his relationship to Palpatine, at least outwardly. And that's why, because Palpatine put him through the ringer, dangled these apprentices, and like basically did this crazy emotional gaslighting on him. It's all in the canon comics taking place between 5 and 6, which is when Outlaws is set, by the way. So we might get some delicious little tie-ins to that. I'm really hoping so. Knowing Doug Chiang and George Lucas wanted the prequels to look clean and sleek, seeing Jedi 100 years prior look even more put together is so cool. Shout out to my guy, Steam Cleaning Yord. Oh, Yord. I was wondering when Yord was going to come up. Are you a member of the Yord Horde?
Oh, yes, 1000%.
Oh my
Yes.
god, this is the moment, the fucking second that I heard that fan name, I just heard fucking what Patricia in the Beast's name, like voice from Split. I can't think of the actor's name right now, but I just all of a sudden hear like Who? Oh, James McAvoy. Yeah, just like my horde, they're part of me. And just like, yeah, no, it's just fucking ridiculous. But I love it. I love it.
Yord, I came around on Yord so fast. I think in the first episode, I was like, oh, this guy's going to be like an obstacle. But then when he vouched for Osha without too much hesitation, there was a little bit of hesitation. I was like, okay, clearly this guy has
It's
all the
fucking
right
dramatic
intentions. He just
pause,
can't
yeah.
get out of his own way. That's his problem.
Yeah.
And I don't know, he's great comic relief. The way he just gets like talked down to by a Padawan constantly, and he just takes it because he knows deep down that he deserves it. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah, the
Right,
Jackie
that's just-
Yord
that-
dynamic
this
are
is really
perfect.
fucking interesting. I really want to know now, like, if it was kind of just a similar thing of like they were similar graduating class, but like,
It's exactly what I think it is.
but like Yord was a senior, and now I have to look up Daphne Keene's character's name,
Jackie.
Jackie. If like Jackie is a sophomore essentially, or if literally they were the same graduating class, but like
No,
I
I
don't
think
know.
she's like a year behind him.
Yeah, not to be no offense to Yord, but she seems like I don't feel like she would be in the same class and maybe not graduate at the same time as him.
Well,
Yeah.
I think she's like
like
advanced
she's got a
placement.
great idea.
She
Huh?
entered the ranks earlier than him, like later than him. She's advanced.
That's what I'm
placement.
saying. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
think that
bump
they were
up
like
to-
on the same amount of time.
Right. No, totally. She was a fast track. You can tell she's fast tracked because she
Oh
got it
yeah,
down so much.
she's genius.
Yord's very proud of his 2 years of making Knight, but it's clear that like it's the sort of thing that like she's like, I can't see you as a Knight because I've already seen you as a Padawan, and there was probably, knowing Yord, there's probably some images that are hard to shake from his academy days. Like, also, I saw a theory that Osha was the one that gave him his little earring when they were at the academy together. Which
That's
I
cute.
like that.
I like that. I also love his little earring.
They really did some great subtle character work with him. Like the way the very first time we see him, he's like awkwardly getting up off the bed and like straightening himself off. And then later with the steaming of the robes, of course. But they made this great point of like holding lightsabers in reserve. The higher the skill level of your Jedi, the less likely you are to actually cut straight to Yord, like using it like a flashlight, looking around in the cave, like turns it on like a
I was gonna
second.
say that was the metaphor. That was the other metaphor that I saw that like just was brilliant when it came to Jackie and Yord. Jackie was like his tutor, his high school tutor that helped him pass fucking chem in order for him to graduate high school.
Totally.
So
I
like
have like a Bart and Lisa vibe almost. He's not quite rambunctious enough to be Bart, but Lisa is like younger and more brilliant than him in most
Yeah.
ways.
but like she definitely helped him with his studies in some fashion, sort of a thing. And then Saul just like knows it because Jackie tells Saul everything and vice versa. Also,
Oh yeah, I'm throwing
can we
shade, but
just
I'd be
all-
lying if I said I wouldn't do that too.
Can we just all
100%.
be Saul's children together? Can we just all collectively?
Would
like,
love that.
I don't have a dad. Can he just be mine? Like, goddamn.
I'll start the adoption paperwork. I'll get
Yeah.
that pushed through. I know people at Lucasfilm, they can get you adopted. No worries. they have the power to do that.
Yeah, Star Wars is all about orphans, and yeah, so
The moment that he like saw Osha in her absolute moment of crisis and just like smiled and greeted her like an old
he
friend.
was like, I believe
And, like
you.
he was able to just like cut right through the situation and like restart an emotional connection with this person. And like honestly, like the Qui-Gon comparison gets thrown around all over the place, and it's very, very apparent. And Qui-Gon's one of my favorite Jedi, so it's pretty natural for Saul to also become one of my favorites. But I think that for me, it really just shows that like that level of compassion is what makes a Jedi great. You know, it goes back to Yoda's teachings in Episode 5. It's about knowledge and defense, never attack. And I found it interesting that Vernestra was kind of judgy to him about having that attachment. She phrased
Right.
it like a mild observation, but you could tell that there was a level, like there was an
It was
edge
a
to it.
misunderstanding for sure.
She
Or a
said, "Oh,
misinterpretation.
you're more attached than I thought you were. Interesting. I see I'll be using the red pen in my report today."
Right, and it's like, bitch, it's not an attachment if I'm still trying to learn from it. Like, it's like it had the same fucking energy as like those people who try to project and tell you what you're feeling when you're not actually feeling. Like, oh, you look angry. Are you angry about something? It's like, no, dude, I'm just hyper focused and like this is just my resting fucking face. Like, I don't
Right.
know. Or like, no, I'm not angry. I'm actually
Man, I
really
have such a problem with that, dude, because like as a bearded person, I don't have much of a mouth that's visible anymore. So every time that I shave my beard off, I look so like grumpy because I forget that I need to make expressions with this half of my face. And so I'm just like all the time, you're like, are you okay? What's wrong? But I also weird everybody out because I have no expression power down here anymore. It's all on the eyebrows. So without a beard, I'll be like, hey, how you doing? What's going on, everybody? And they're like, whoa, dude, way too much eyebrow, not enough mouth. What's wrong with your face? Why do you not know how to make expressions? So maybe that's all it is. Maybe it's just someone shaved their beard off recently and their face, they don't know how to use their face yet. So
it also kind of is a good base to touch on because Tales of the Jedi really did a good job with it also between Yaddle and Dooku, because Yaddle was very much like, dude, Qui-Gon died. Like, you're allowed to be emotionally upset. Like, he was a really important Padawan. He was a really important Jedi. And then Dooku was like, he's with the Force. He's with the Force. Too bad y'all bitches didn't listen to him when he tried to warn you. But he's with the Force now. I'm not allowed to feel things about it, Yaddle. So, yeah, it is interesting seeing the Jedi kind of go back and forth with their doctrines.
I don't think we've seen a positive example of attachment being withheld.
No.
Almost every time it backfires.
No.
And every time attachment is admonished, it turns out that attachment was super necessary to saving the day. Like if Saul hadn't shown that compassion and maintained that attachment with Osha, they would have arrested her for the crimes and been like, whatever, yeah, sure, twin sister, heard that before, and just called it a day, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So the message is very clear that Star Wars does not take the position of the Jedi Order when it comes to attachment. Like every time we get this lesson, the takeaway is supposed to be that this is why they made a mistake. This is why you shouldn't do it this way.
Oh, yeah.
Ironically, Anakin Skywalker talking about unconditional love being a form of attachment hit the nail on the head right before going and murdering some children, you know? But before that, he would make a lot of sense. He really had a good handle on it. And I think there was a whole movie between those. Yeah, he says unconditional love in 2, the slaughters in 3.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's enough distance for
Well, I mean, he still kills sand people children. He still kills
Yes.
sand people children.
That
That's
is,
the
yes.
movie.
That's true.
Still killing
You're right.
kids.
You're right. I'm not out here trying to redeem Anakin Skywalker, okay?
Yeah,
That's not my mission.
that's a hard one. Yeah.
You should start with The Light of the Jedi by Charles Soule. It's the first book of Phase 1 of the High Republic, and it kicks the whole story off, starting with a great hyperspace disaster. I can't recommend it enough. That's the first book that I read. Really great opener, too. Like, it hooks you right away. That would be my recommendation. Do I have that one? I do. It's this one right here, Light of the Jedi.
Great cover, too.
Yeah, great cover art. I saw a box set of these at Celebration Anaheim that was like all Aurebesh covers. It was like,
Oh yeah, they were fucking.
they were beautiful. They
They
look
were like
so
what?
good.
Like $80 though. Like
You're missing a zero somewhere in there, but
it
yeah,
wasn't
they were
800, but like there
a
was
couple
like
hundred.
there were, maybe it was 90 or maybe over 100. There was something that we broke it down and it was like fucking maybe it was $70 a book, but it was all 3 of them though. It was really pretty. Though.
It was like legit gold ink though on the spines. Like it was.
Yeah.
They were a display set. They weren't for reading for sure.
Yeah, they
Nobody
did the thing. They did the thing where they gold plated the bookends.
Nice.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. Well, we are coming up on the end of our time here. Tori, tell the lovely folks at home where they can find you.
You can find me my Twitter and Instagram are at the Mandatorian. That's the Mandalorian with a T instead of the L. And you can also check out the podcast that I'm a part of with my best friend Savannah, which is the Dorky Diva. And it will be at the Dorky Diva or Dorky Diva Show on all socials. So yeah, we're covering the Acolyte a little bit. We just did a 2-parter on our whole New Zealand trip. So
Nice.
if you want to hear more about that, check it out.
Also, Dorky Diva, Dork Forces. I feel like there's a connection there.
Beautiful.
We're proud leaders of the Dork community here. We got to
Yes.
stick together.
It's about not taking ourselves too seriously and
100%.
recognizing the love and joy
Correct.
in multiple fandoms.
Anytime I want to say something overly serious about Star Wars, I remind myself that I'm a middle-aged man sitting in a basement surrounded by toys. and that just kind of pre-invalidates whatever I was about to
Humbling.
add, on a meaningful level. So I stay in my lane. I talk about things I like. We talk about Star Wars here, and we have a good time. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, everybody, and thank you for joining us, Tori. This was a fun conversation.
Thank you. It was fun.
Can't wait for episode 3 of The Acolyte, and can't wait to hear your thoughts. We'll have to get together again soon and talk about this some more. But thank you so much for watching, everybody. This has been the Dork Forces podcast. Play us out, C-3PO.
R2? Where are you? R2? R2? R2, you're on fire! R2-D2, you found a cigarette! Well, I don't think smoking is grown up at all. Because it's very dangerous. Smoking does dreadful things to your lungs and is very bad for your heart. Well, I know I don't have one, but humans do, and I think we should set a good example. Well done, R2. Oh, hello. You know smoking is bad for your health, and it isn't grown up at all. So please, don't smoke. R2.